Jeffrey indulges in the 6 main habits that keep men weak. And now just look at his life. He's a young man with no energy, no drive, no male aggression. He's a wimp, a coward, a pussy. He obsesses over girls that don't even know that he exists. They never even message him back. 0 matches per day on Tinder. It's a sad reality being a weak man. Adonis. What kind of man do you think Adonis is? Weak or strong? Neither. Adonis is the ultimate man. But he isn't lucky, he wasn't born like this. Adonis developed himself as a young man through doing the right, good habits. He stayed away from the instant gratification activities that he saw other young men indulging in. There's 6 main bad habits that are keeping you weak, and if you watch till the end of this video, I'll explain to you a way to overcome them much easier than everything else that you've tried so far. The first 2 bad habits we're gonna couple together, and they are social media and porn. And it's interesting that I can couple them 2 together, isn't it? Because it's pretty much the same thing. Social media is literally softcore porn these days. If you go onto Instagram, you see ass. If you go onto TikTok, you see ass. If you go onto YouTube, you see like sexy motherfucker in a bathrobe. You know what? You go onto social media and your dick doesn't even get like semi-hard anymore because of how much you fucked up like your male health. Years and years and years of excessive masturbation. It's actually fucked when you think about it. Honestly, I was just gonna make this video as like one of those clickbait, like a shorter video, and it's gonna get lots of views, and like, Alpha M kind of video. The top 7 bad habits to number 1, porn, and number 2, but wait, first a moment from our sponsor, the timeless piece, like, shut the fuck up. I was just gonna make a basic ass video to get some fucking views, and as soon as I said, like, social media is pretty much just like porn, I just felt fucking sick. I fucking hate what the world has come to, bro, honestly. I fucking hate that my generation of men are so consumed by like this modern technology that's so bad for them, and it's so fucking hard to pull a young man out of this. This is my work, this is my purpose, my mission. It gives me a great deal of fulfillment. But I wish it wasn't like this. When you overindulge in social media, which is extremely hard not to do, like these platforms have been made to be addictive. They've been made to like put you in a trance-like state where you can't even remember like, what time it is, how long you've spent. You think you've spent like 5 minutes watching YouTube shorts and an hour passes by. The same with TikTok. If you only want to keep it to that very practical level, you're losing a lot of time to social media and porn. But I think it's what it does to like the rest of your life, your perception of the world, especially because of how sexualized social media is, and porn in itself is just fucked. I said once, I gave this analogy which you might be interested in. What happens when you're watching porn in like your evolutionary caveman kind of brain? Because our brain hasn't evolved. Evolution takes millions of years, doesn't it? So our brain hasn't really evolved. We've only had modern technology for like 10, 20 years. Our brain hasn't evolved for this. So what does our brain think is happening when we are watching porn? It thinks it's real. Of course, there's a part of our brain, like the most advanced part of our brain, which of course understands, yep, this is porn, and I'm actually a loser, I'm actually just looking into a screen. But there is like an evolutionary part of our brain, like the brainstem, the oldest part of our brain, the caveman kind of brain, which literally thinks it's real. It thinks that you have such a variety of sexual options. I know this is going to be offensive. That part of your brain doesn't realize that you are a fucking loser, that you are the one looking into a screen of this like mass-produced episode of Blacks.com or some bullshit. So this part of your brain, this like caveman part of your brain, thinks that you are a winner. It thinks that these women have submitted to you, they're sexual. That's why your dick gets hard. And when you bust a nut, it's like, oh wow, like we've achieved the height of male life. We have successfully fulfilled our sexual strategy as men, which is, to spread our seed to like many, many different women. What would be after that? Well, rest, recover, get some like high fat, high processed foods, go to sleep, feel lethargic. You don't need to work. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to like work out, be productive. You don't need those things because you've just achieved the height of male life. That's what happens when you watch things like porn and you go on social media. A part of your brain just thinks that you are like the ultimate fucking legend. And because of that, it strips you of your motivation to go and do the things that would actually build you up to be the kind of man who can attract the women that you actually want. The third habit that keeps you weak is video games, and this is controversial. It's controversial to literally say video games are bad because all these nerds will disagree with me and they'll say, oh, but actually for what? Shut the fuck up. Any argument that you have against this, that video games actually help you to be, shut the fuck up. They actually help you to be creative, shut up. Shut the fuck up. The reason why video games are fun is because you are getting like this virtual stimulation of the real thing that you wanted. You never wanted to fucking level up in Call of Duty. You never cared. Like, we evolutionarily don't care about prestiging in a fucking video game. We care about climbing up the ranks of men around us. We care about obtaining status and power and having brotherhood in our lives. And video games manipulate those core masculine desires that we have and make you invest into the game instead, because it's so much easier getting that status, that level up in the virtual world world where there's no real discomfort than there is to actually go outside in the real world and level up there. Day in, day out, after months, years, a decade, you've invested so much of your time, your mental energy, that it becomes so hard to take a step back because now your life in the real world is so much worse. You're a fucking gamer. So here you are in the video game world, you are a warrior, a dragon slayer, prestige 7, and you've got the gold FAMAS gun on fucking Black Ops. You can tell how long I've not played video games for. Like, the last Call of Duty I played was fucking Black Ops 1. The more of a legend you are in the virtual world, the more of a loser you are in the real world. The fourth habit that keeps you weak, and I promise that you are suffering from this. Fucked up sleep. A poor sleeping pattern. You thought all of the things I was going to say was just going to be like, oh yeah, like porn and video games, bro. Sleep is the fundamental thing that you need to improve on, that the majority of young men need to improve on. I want to ask you a question and we're going to see how smart you really are. How many hours of sleep do we need per night? Yeah, everyone says like 7 to 8 or whatever, right? Let's say 8. If you want 8 hours of sleep and you need to wake up at 6 a.m., what time do you go to bed? Answer that question right now. Answer that fucking question right now. Everyone will say 10 p.m., won't they? One of the truths that not many people ever like to think about is that the time that you spend in bed is not the same as the hours of sleep that you get. This ring is very expensive. It's like $300, $400, but it tracks your sleep meticulously. And when you track your sleep with a device like this, you realize that there's such a thing called sleep efficiency. And sleep efficiency is kind of like the percentage of time that you are asleep of the time that you're actually in bed. And a good sleep efficiency is 80%. You know what that means? If you want 8 hours of sleep, like what's recommended by all these people, you know, if you want higher testosterone, sleep at least 8 hours a night. You know, you've always heard that, right? If you want 8 hours of sleep, you need to be in bed for 10 hours. If you need to wake up at 6 a.m., you need to go to bed at 8 p.m. No one is doing that. So you need to right now not think that this is talking about someone else. You need to hold your hand up right now and say, fuck, my sleeping pattern could use some improvements. I will do it right now. My sleeping pattern could use some improvements. When you track your sleep, you realize just how shitty sleep you're actually getting, even though it kind of felt okay. The fifth bad habit that's keeping you weak is a poor, modern Western diet. Fast food and sugar. I'm not going to spend much time on this because it's just common fucking sense. If you're eating shit, if your diet isn't great and you're eating quite like processed, you know it is, right? A lot of people will just spend so long grilling you on it, but no one will tell you what is literally the most practical, specific advice that you can do to like, how do you actually start eating healthier? No one actually gives you good advice on that. You know, people will tell you, oh, well, eat fruits and vegetables, but they don't tell you, okay, how can a guy who's normally eating 3 to 4 unhealthy meals per day, how can he actually transform that realistically in a way that he literally would do? The specific advice that you can implement is literally choose one meal a day to change to a meal that is just entirely of vegetables, specifically potatoes, as like the main carb source. And then if you are a meat eater, with a bit of meat. So essentially just one meal per day, have salmon, chicken, whatever you can like bake in the oven alongside a bunch of vegetables like potatoes drizzled in olive oil. And that is like one meal that's now incredibly healthy. It's very minimally processed compared to like all the bullshit that you get from like McDonald's, like hyper processed foods. It's easy to cook and it'll even taste nice if you bake it and you actually drizzle it with olive oil, and olive oil is very healthy as well. Finally, the last habit that's keeping you weak is a lot less like practical. It's more wishy-washy, but it's maybe one of the most important. And it's being emotional. You've been convinced as a young man that you should be in touch with your emotions, that you should show your emotions, you should be in touch with your feminine side. That makes you weak. If you want to be weak, if you want to not have the respect of the people in your life, if you want to lose the attraction of women in your life, you should follow that bullshit advice that's pushed down young boys' throats when they're in school. Be emotional. It's okay to be weak. Be in touch with your fuck off. Be in touch with your emotions. Now, that isn't to say that you shouldn't be aware of them. Meditation is amazing for this. Meditation will make you aware of your emotions with more of a distance. Journaling does a very similar thing, and just being away from technology and stimulation and just spending time in like nature will allow you to observe your emotions at a distance. That's an incredibly powerful skill, because a man who can't do that is fucking worthless. I will say this again. A man who cannot control his emotions is worthless. And now yet again, your like dumbass fucking Jeffrey Brain lack of humility thinks that I'm talking about someone else. This may be one of the first times that you actually hear the cold hard truth, like the shit that you don't really want to hear but you needed to hear. You are likely an emotional young man. You have been raised, conditioned, brainwashed to be emotional. That makes you worthless as a man. No one will speak to you in this way because everyone's so used to sugarcoating things and just saying, we're all beautiful, shut the fuck up. If you cannot control your emotions as a man, you are worthless. You must look into what is called stoicism. It's kind of like a philosophy, but it's more so a way of living. Stoicism, and then also get into those practices, meditation, journaling, time away from like stimulating content. You'll never stop having emotions. Remember this. You will always get emotions. Bro, I really didn't want to record these videos today. Honestly, I just didn't really feel like it. It's 11:54 a.m. right now. I was supposed to start at 10 and I literally just kept on pushing it off, feeling like a little bitch. Oh, you know, I'll do it later. Maybe I should go eat first because muscle protein synthesis and all this other shit. I was like, bro, fuck this. Like, the reason why I'm not recording right now is simply because I don't feel like it. Fuck what I feel like. If you allow your emotions to dictate your actions, you will live such a pathetic existence as a man. No one will respect you. No woman will be attracted to you. You must create a distance between yourself and your emotions. Now that means that you will feel the emotion of being a little bitch. You will feel the emotion of stress and anger, guilt, shame, whatever. You will feel these emotions, but you do not allow them to control you. And in fact, you start to control your emotions. Now, how can you reverse these bad habits? Because you've probably tried to, you know, like quit porn and go on to semen retention and no fat and take a detox away from like social media and video games and, you know, try a new diet. You've probably tried those things and you've probably struggled a little bit. The reason why is because all of the habits that we've just spoke about are not actually problems. They are symptoms. All of these things are symptoms of the real core problem, the plight of modern young men, and it is mental health. Your biggest problems right now are not problems, they are simply just a symptom of your poor mental health. I've made videos on mental health that you can find. You can just search like Hamza Mental Health onto YouTube or click on my channel and you'll be able to find them. If you invest your time instead about learning and then improving your mental health, you'll find that these bad habits, they'll automatically with ease start dropping away from your life. A person with good mental health does not jack off 6 times a day. A person with good mental health does not eat shit food. A person with good mental health has good sleep. Focus on mental health first and you'll find that all of these other things just fix themselves. Click on this video to learn more right now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.